Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for joining the third webinar of this series, but I think the most exciting one of the series. This is the sneak preview of what we've been talking about for quite a while now, and we've kind of built that excitement, and we love that you all are also as excited as us. So today we have with us Bruce Keith, our CEO, and he's going to be running this session, and all rules sort of stay the same, which is feel free to jump into the chat, ask us questions, tell us what you're thinking, comments, anything. Just keep it buzzing, and we'll keep answering as we go along. But we'll definitely take questions as well. We would like to kick off the session with something different, which we've not done before, and we'd like to do that. And then Bruce will jump in. So Bruce, before I hand it over to you, Prabs, can we just have the next video, please? Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Shruti. Let me just kick off, shall I? Because I'm conscious we've only got 25 minutes. So I'm gonna run you through. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek or a sneak preview of what's coming in InvestorAi Crypto. So you just saw the video just now. I will go a little slower than that so you can see what's happening. So let me just tell you a little bit about what we've got. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the app. I'm going to show you some screens on the app, and I'm going to just explain how some of the journeys work. So really, what are we looking at? We're looking at how the algos work, what the different trading strategies are, how you connect your account and trade your account, and really what happens after you do that. And on the way through, you'll hear me talk about Alpha Hunter, and you'll hear me talk about Smart Accumulator. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on those two, because they're the two strategies that we are launching with. So without further ado, let me go back a step and just explain a little bit about what the app does and kind of how it does it, and how the AI works behind the scenes. So let me just go back and do that, and then let me show you some of the screens and how they work. But before I do that, I know we've got some polls. So just to make sure that we can understand kind of who's there and the audience, Prabal, do you want to pop the first poll up? We'll just run the first two quite quickly. So just trying to get understand of age range first of all. Okay, so we got quite a cross section today. I was going to say I think I know everyone who's in the over 50 category, but we've got quite a cross section today. So that's excellent. Prabal, do you want to just run the second poll as well? So, do you invest in crypto? Excellent. Wow. All right. So we've got a few no's, but the majority yeses. That is perfect. Thank you. Okay. So let me take a step. Let me take a step back, and let me just explain a little bit about InvestorAi Crypto and kind of under the hood and how that works. Let me tell you a little bit about the strategies, and I'll do that in the context of giving you a preview of the app and what's coming next month. So just taking a step back for a second, kind of what's the AI doing? And And principally what we've got here is we've got a market that has high abilities to make money and high ability for people to lose money. And that volatility creates opportunities and it creates risk as well. What we've done is we've taken our AI and we've taken our algos to try and identify where some of those opportunities will be, and to do it in a way that as far as possible reduces some of the risks and helps you on a kind of regular basis make money, rather than go through the peaks and troughs that you would expect if you just went in and you kind of sat in a particular cryptocurrency. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. To do that, you need two components. You need an AI recommendation component that comes up with all the good ideas, and you need an execution piece. Because one thing that is true in crypto is nothing stays the same for very long. So you've got to be able to keep moving and keep trading and keeping on top of what's going on in the markets, much more so than in the equity markets. And it's 24/7. You know, you can't afford to do it for a few hours at a time. Well, you could come in and out, but much more efficient to be in for longer. And therefore, having bots working for you and doing that for you, we think is a kind of really important component here for people to be able to, over the long term, be able to increase their value. So we've got this recommendation piece, we've got this execution piece. So let me talk a little bit about the kind of recommendation piece. So we've got two types of recommendation. We've got recommendations around a strategy, which is much more for a kind of buy and hold type investor. And we've got recommendations for someone who's much more comfortable trading. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to dive into the app. I'm going to let you see how easy it is to kind of use. And as I do that, I'll also take you through both of the trading strategies that we've got as well. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so this is the wireframe of the app. I've got the real version on my phone. It's got my test account running in it just now, so I'm not going to show you that, but I can give you some results for some of the testing that we've been doing. So let me just take you through it. So it's really simple, and we've made it as simple as possible because we think it's the kind of app that you're going to want to look in on a regular basis. You want to spend lots of time in it. So it's one that you can go in and you can see very quickly where you're at. So I'm going to take you through the create account journey, and I'm going to show you how you would connect your exchange wallet as well. So we'll go through that piece, and then I'll show you the strategies. So let me just go into create account first. This is how simple it is. Give yourself a username, create your password. We don't even make you type it in twice, so hopefully you get it right first time, and give us an email address so we can check that you still exist. And we'll send you a pin. Send your pin to that email address, put it in, and that's it. That's it, you're done. So setting the account up, getting yourself going is really simple. So then if I think about the next piece is you've now got your account, you're in the app. What are you doing? You know, you've heard Akshar talk about this, you've heard Sarah talk about this. It's about getting your exchange account connected. So let me just sort of explain a little bit more about that to start with. For those of you who are not in crypto, you need to have a wallet or an exchange account somewhere. And what's really important from our side is that whatever currency you have stays in your wallet. So we're never looking to move any money out of your wallet. It always stays in your wallet. So the instructions that our AI gives your exchange is about trading in and out of different currencies. And that is forever in your wallet, and you can see that in your wallet at any time. So connecting your exchange accounts, really important. Trading strategy we've talked about. You then have to decide how much money you want to allocate to a strategy. Set some criteria dependent on the strategy, and that's it. Sit back. So let's just walk through the first couple of steps on how you would do that. So choose an account. Let me just touch on this. I think as you know from previous webinars, Binance is going to be the first one. Why Binance? It's the market leader. It's got the most number of retail accounts, so it just covers that large population. But more importantly than that, it's got a really good coverage of currencies, and it's got good pricing. It's not the cheapest, but it's got good pricing. So Binance for us wins on that. So Binance is going to be the first one. It's likely that Binance US is next, then Mazirex, then OKX. That's likely to be the running order. So for now, select Binance. And it's really simple. And Sarah again touched on this: account name, API key, secret API key, and connect. You'll have to do these things on your desktop. You can't do them on your mobile. So if you're on your desktop, you should be using the QR code, and that will help you speed up through that process. And within your Binance account, you've got to go to your account information in order to be able to get your API key and secret API key. But once both of those are in, that's it. You're done. You're ready to go. You're ready to start. So we mentioned before about the importance of that account. Within there, you can see you've got an ability to set an account up from in there, so you can go and do that with Binance. As I say, there'll be others to follow, but Binance is the one that we're starting with. So as you can see, this account's been set up with Akshar at the top. And you can see he's made $31,000 of lifetime profit and 13,000 in the current cycle. So let me just talk through a little bit about what you can do within the app. You can choose your different strategies, and you can choose your different timelines. And at any point in time, you can see what your allocation looks like. And then down here, we can look at different strategies, and we can see how the different strategies are doing. So I'm going to very quickly bring you through the two strategies. So let me just add one, first of all. So I'm going to add Alpha Hunter. So let me just tell you a little bit about Alpha Hunter. So Alpha Hunter, as the name suggests, is a strategy that is looking at really reasonable turnover of trading. So it is much more of a trading strategy. It looks across roughly 30 currencies at any point in time. And it's looking at the right ones to buy, and it'll buy 2, 4, or 6 at any point in time, and it'll be on a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3, up to a 4 hour window that will buy those currencies. And what you're really trying to do is it's trying to work through and spot those buying opportunities.
आपका शॉप कितने बजे तक खुला रहता है? 9 बजे. अच्छा, मुझे ना आई का चेकअप वापस से करना था क्योंकि
we just need to mute everyone. We'll just mute them. Yeah.
लेकिन अगर कल चेकअप करके मैं
Bruce, I think you can unmute yourself because you're the co-host. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Shruthi. Okay, moving back. So it's looking to trade multiple currencies at any one point in time. So what it's looking at is it's 30 currencies, 30 most liquid currencies, and it's looking to pick 2, 4, or 6. And really what you need to do is you need to decide how much you want to invest. You can see here, when I look through on your wallet, it tells you what you've got in USDT. You can convert more from within here into USDT. And then you've got some pretty simple decisions to make. Do you want it to invest once, and once it's done to finish, or do you want it to keep going? Do you want it to reinvest your profits? So do you want to take your profits out every time, or do you want it to compound? And then you set profit target or stop loss, and you've got an option of the ones that you want to set there. And that's very much down to kind of individual preference. And at that point in time, your job's done. That's all you need to do. and the machine is kind of running off at that point. Now, the thing to look at in terms of Alpha Hunter is it's designed for the sort of person who wants to be continually trading, and it's trading for them. It's working for them 24/7, and it's running on a half-hour basis in terms of continually making those recommendations and looking for opportunities. So you might find that you're trading 5 or 6 times in the course of a day. So it's for someone who's quite comfortable in that trading environment. If I look at, and I was looking at it earlier today, if I look at the live test results we've had, it's been averaging returns of around 10 or 12% per month. So clearly on an annualized basis, that kind of grosses up, and that's after trading costs, and that's after trading costs within Binance. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's kind of working on that basis. What's really important is on Alpha Hunter, you only pay when you're making money. So if you've started a cycle with $100 and you finish it with $120, then you pay. And every cycle, whether it's profitable, you pay one credit, and 1 credit costs $1. So it's really simple. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to take you to the other strategy. So I'm going to take you to Smart Accumulator. So Smart Accumulator is a different kind of strategy. So again, choose your exchange account. On Smart Accumulator, you've really only got 2 decisions. You've got to decide which currency you want. And right now it's Bitcoin or it's Ether. And again, you choose what your investment amount is. And that's it. And what does Smart Accumulator do? It's quite different. It doesn't trade to the same extent. What Smart Accumulator is trying to do is it's trying to increase your store of that currency. So if you started with 1 Bitcoin, it's trying to increase the number of Bitcoins you've got, regardless of what the US dollar price is. So if Bitcoin is going up in value, the algo should keep you in Bitcoin. If the algo is predicting that Bitcoin will fall in value, it will convert you to dollars, let the drop happen, and then convert you back into Bitcoin again. So it's a bit like having a virtual miner that's increasing your store of Bitcoin without you having to spend more capital investing in Bitcoin. And it works for Bitcoin and Ether. We'll add more currencies over time, but right now those are the 2 that we're going to start with. And for this one, the credits are based on a credit per day. So it's really simple. So it's $1 a day. So one other piece just to kind of add into that in terms of credits and how they work. The credits will only be charged once you've got $250 working for you in a particular strategy. So if you've got less than that, you can run the strategy for free. Above that, you'll pay for the credits. And the reason for that really is, so one, we want to encourage people to come in, and that's important. But secondly, at those kind of lower levels, it works quite well on Accumulator. It's harder to make Alpha Hunter work as much because you've got trading costs that are coming through. So at the lower levels, we've said we're not going to charge any fees to encourage people in. As I mentioned, Alpha Hunter live test in last month's made 10 or 12%. If I look at the Accumulator variant, over the last 10 months, it has accumulated roughly 50% additional Bitcoin. So if you started with 1, over a 10-month period, you would have ended up with 1.5. So it's increasing your store of Bitcoin. So it's very much aimed at the person who wants to hold Bitcoin in the long term, and rather than wanting to just invest a certain amount in Bitcoin and let it run, wants to actively manage to grow that Bitcoin balance. And that's it. So it's really, really simple. I'll show you one further thing. How do you add credits? You pick a package and you buy them. And very simply, it's done through the App Store, and it's done through or iTunes, and it's done through Google Pay. So you do it on your phone, however else you would buy credits on your phone. So there's no connection to bank account or anything else. It's just how you would normally pay within your phone for that. And then finally, you can up here, you can obviously close your account, you can change your password, you can go into Help Center. And within Help Center, we'll have people available the whole time. We'll have people on Telegram, we'll have people on WhatsApp, as well as on email. And if you've got any difficulty at all getting set up, getting going, or you're unsure about anything, you should get in touch with us through that, and we should have someone able to answer you, if not right away, very soon. So that is the fastest run through of the demo I've ever done in the interest of time. I'd be really interested to hear what people think about the two strategies. So, Prabal, do you want to put up our final poll?
Just going up.
Well, that's interesting.
It is.
So roughly half the people would go for both, and then a quarter for alpha and a quarter for smart accumulator. That's really interesting. I spend quite a lot of time talking to investors in the crypto market, and people really do fall into kind of the two camps. There is that kind of long-term camp that just says, you know what, I want Bitcoin and I want to own more Bitcoin, and they are absolutely, or Solana or Ether or whatever the currency happens to be, and they're just absolutely focused on accumulator. And then there's just another crowd who are saying, you know what, I'm not focused on anyone, I just want to make money and I want to trade. And there's two quite different crowds, so it was interesting to see that. So Shruthi, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to open up. If you've got any questions from the floor.
We do actually. And before we jump into, there were ones around how they could buy credits and, with what kind of currency. But I just want to answer South. You had two questions, but I'm going to start with your first one. Bruce, the big one, when is it launching?
So as soon as possible is the short answer. I think realistically, we will make it available for people here and people within our community early part of May. I'm hoping the first week, but probably the second week is realistic. And, just to sort of give you some more background on that, it's live just now and it's in test just now. We want to make sure that we've been through as much testing as possible before we kind of release it to the kind of wider group. So assume that you'll get to play with it in May.
Okay, I think that was the question. And like Bruce said, this is the exclusive part of the, community, and, you guys get access first. So Bruce, just going to continue with Saud's second question, which is, can we only invest in USDT? And a follow-up to that, which somebody else has asked similar, is can we pay by INR, buy credit in INR? So I think if you can just answer that, both of those.
Yeah. So when you open an exchange account, you've got to move money into your exchange account. So you'll be moving, I would imagine, INR into your exchange account, and whether that's you put that in Bitcoin or whatever you put that in. We've taken a decision from a global perspective that in order to start a strategy off, it starts in USD. And that's partly around USD just being a strong reserve stable currency. So everything always comes back to USD at the end of any kind of trading cycle. And partly because it's just global, so anyone anywhere in the world can kind of do it. So you will have currency in your wallet in whatever currency you've put it in on, and then you can change between currencies. You can change between crypto and currencies kind of as needed. I don't know if that answers the question, Shruthi.
No, it does. I think it does, but I'm going to continue because there are some follow-ups on the same one. The INR one was, of course, Abhishek's question, and now he asks, what's the minimum amount to trade?
We're not going to set a minimum. I think the thing that you've got to watch is if you're trading too small an amount, you've just got to be careful that fees and what people refer to as dust doesn't start to kind of hit your returns. So what's dust? So dust is rounding errors. If any of you are old enough to remember, I think it was Superman 2, that was all about Lex Luthor and collecting dust out of people's accounts. And dust is just the bit that's left over. So if you've got a small amount, Binance goes to, I can't remember, 5 or 6 decimal places. As you trade, you actually need more decimal places to be able to get the gain. So you end up with dust at the end of the day. So if you start with too small an amount in Alpha Hunter, you're not going to see the full benefits of that going forward. So Accumulator, any amount you like. Alpha Hunter, I would say, we're making it work just now on accounts that are, $100 or so invested. But realistically, I think you should be putting a few $100s in to make it worth your while. Personally, I'll be putting a couple of $1,000s
in. That's good, Bruce. Some of us will start with a couple of $100, but that's good enough to start with, I guess, right? So we will do that. And speaking of that, we have Sri Ram, who's been one of our most loyal customers through most of our products, and he has a question here. I'm first going to read out his comment and then get straight to his question. So he says, Bruce, I am a complete maverick when it comes to investing in crypto. He'd like to learn from a trusted source. He's keen to invest with the assurance of good guidance. Any comments, Bruce?
So, look, I'm a maverick too. I think the one, the one thing that you can guarantee is we will keep working on our AI and our algos to make sure that they can do the best they can. But you should be aware that crypto is a volatile market. And I would say this to anyone on this group or otherwise, you won't put all your asset allocation, you wouldn't put all your savings into crypto. So, as with any investment product, you've got to make sure that you put in, an amount that's appropriate to you and reflects the fact that it is volatile. But, pleased that we've got supporters who want to kind of work with us and hope we can deliver you the kind of returns that you really hope.
Yes, Bruce. So his question now, and it's around the amount needed to be invested. Is it different from the amount used to buy credits? He just wants us to clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is quite important. So it's a really, really good question. When you set up your API key, what you're allowing us to do is you're allowing us to trade your wallet, you trade your account. You are not allowing us to take any money out of your account. And that, from a kind of a security perspective, we think is the right thing to do. So you will make whatever profit you make in your wallet, you'll pay for credit separately. So we can't take any money out of your wallet for that. So the payment for the credits is entirely separate. And we think that's important from kind of a user security perspective.
Yeah, and while it's separate, I think also it, Bruce, let's just re-emphasize, it obviously can be bought on our app itself. The credits can be bought on our app, through our app. Yeah. And you will be able to pay in your local currency.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Abhishek, your question is, when are you going to give us the detailed step-by-step InvestorAi Crypto module? Sarah had told us about the guide in form of a PDF. I think Abhishek is talking about the API key and about the whole Binance session that we have. So Abhishek, there is a PDF in terms of step-by-step details on how you can open a Binance account, and then also how to generate that API key. So we will send that out to all of you again on the community group, but it has been sent out. But Bruce, if you want to answer how we're going to prep everyone once the app launches, would you like to take that on the InvestorAi Crypto? Yeah.
Thank you, Shruthi. So we've tried really hard to make it as simple as possible and to work, but invariably what works for one person doesn't work for everyone. So we recognize that, and we're going to have the whole team available to kind of help people get started. So that's going to be through, if you've got a problem there can be a direct Telegram channel, there'll be WhatsApp channels for you to kind of get in touch with us and to help you through it. We can share screens, we can do whatever we need to do. And what you'll find is you're going to have our entire team at some point will all be on that help desk. So I'll be there, Shruthi will be there. Anyone that you've ever interacted with at Bridgeweave, whether it's one of our engineers or whether it's the CEO, will all be on there at some point, because we want to kind of hear how it's working for our users and our community. So we'll all be there to help you with that, to help you through it. And we'll also be running, as we already are, we're running various kind of coffee barista workshops that will run. I don't know what the timing of that's going to be, Shruti, but we'll be running regular sessions, a bit like the Apple Genius Bar, where you can drop in, and we'll set up certain times each day that you can drop in and ask any questions you've got as well. So, and again, they'll be manned by people across the business.
Yes, and we'll make it as convenient for everyone, so it suits their time, and we'll cover time zones. So yeah, it will be. We're waiting to be of assistance to all of you. Bruce, I'm going to just continue. We have one or two more questions, and then I think we could look at wrapping up. So Praveen again, we know him from both FTM and InvestorAi in the past, but he's here and he says the account opening for Binance, he wants guidance. Yes, Praveen, we are already doing those sessions, and we will reach out to you to help you with that. And he says, Bruce, he'll start with $1,000. He's already given his number that he's going to start. So yeah, cool, Praveen, we're waiting. So once we launch. Bruce, one question that I want you to take is Shahbaz's question, and it's very interesting. How do you decide that we get profit in a cycle and you deduct $1 USD from the credit?
So let me just sort of describe a cycle for a second. So what's going on, the AI engine is deciding how long the kind of trade cycle should run for, and the shortest amount of time is an hour and the longest amount of time is 6 hours. So depending on the market volatility, the AI will decide whether you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 hours in a particular cycle. It will then place the trades for you. So let's assume you've got $1,000 invested. It will place the trades for $1,000, and let's assume it's a 2-hour cycle. So that $1,000 will be invested for that 2-hour window, and at the end of that 2 hours will convert back to USD, unless they hit a stop loss or a profit limit. If it hits either one of those, each position will convert to USD at that point. So once you've gone USD to currency and converted back, either at end of cycle or on the way through, once you've got it all back, you know whether your 1,000 was worth more than 1,000 or less than 1,000. If it was worth less, you don't get charged. If it's worth more, then you get charged a credit.
Okay.
Just one final piece on that. When we've done the testing, we think that the number of cycles over the course of a day is likely to be round about 6 cycles over the course of a day. So that's how often you would expect to see that trading engine working for you.
Okay. Okay, Shahbaz, I hope that makes it clear for you. Bruce, last question. But again, I think you just need to get into one level of detail. So Saud says, I have other assets in my Binance account. will the API access only give us, as an InvestorAi, access to my USDT balance?
So what the API will do, the API allows us to see into the account. You need to tell us what balance you want us to invest. And we've made it USD just to make it consistent across everywhere. So you could have Bitcoin in your account. You could have a certain amount that you want us in USD to go and trade for you. And it could be that within that, we'll have traded some Bitcoin as part of that balance. And we'll continue to trade that. We won't trade anything else that's outside of that balance that you initially set up.
Okay. Bruce, thank you so much. I'd like to tell everyone, because we're trying to keep these sessions and not keep extending them, but because we'd like to ensure that the time you gave us we kind of finish within that. We will continue to answer all your queries and any questions, any comments you have on our community. You've just seen the links. It's gone up on the chat. It's there on Telegram. It's there on WhatsApp. So we know most of you are there, but all the new people who joined us, please do sign in, do come. There is a referral link to open your Binance account. Please use that. It just makes it easier as well for you to open that account, and we can be of assistance to all of you. So please use that. It's got our referral code in it, and yeah, we'd like to stay in touch. The next week's session is also a very interesting one, but you'll hear more about what that session is. We'd like to talk to you about equities and crypto, and Bruce did mention about that, about how much you end up sort of diversifying your investments usually. So we will come back to you with the details. So look forward to staying in touch. Thank you so much for joining Ready Steady Crypto. See you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.